إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما كثيرا مزيدا إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Diluting this topic makes what every enemy of Islam wants. What is it they want? They want Muslims that appear from the outside like they're Muslims. A name Muslim. On his card is Muslim. But inside they're like a tree trunk that's hollow and rotted out. That's what they want to see. You look at the tree, you think it's nice, it's beautiful, big. You get closer, you see a hole in it, and the slightest breeze or push or touch will blow it down to the ground. That huge trunk that you thought was strong. The enemies of Islam hate this topic with a passion. Why? It's nearly close to impossible to take someone out of Islam into another faith. It happens, I'm not going to deny. But it's extremely rare, very rare. It's very difficult to get a Muslim and take him out of their faith into another faith. Tawheed is very heavy on the hearts. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah leaves a deep impact on the heart when one believes in it. A da'iyah told me once that evangelists or missionaries went to a very impoverished, poverty, drought-stricken Muslim town or towns, and they had a crew of doctors and loads of food and medicine, construction workers and equipment. You know how parents are when their kids get sick. They get desperate for help from anyone. They're probably at times willing to do anything for it. They brought these simple vaccinations for the kids and they helped the kids. And when they would help or do anything, they have a picture of what they claim is Isa alayhi salam. And they say, this is from your Lord Isa. They helped them reconstruct their mud houses. They helped them bring food. They helped them every step of the way. In every step of the way, they would tell them, this is from Isa, your Lord. Finally, before they were about to leave, they were done and they thought these people graduated. They thought they had them. They had a goodbye party. They brought generators and they wanted to show them a movie on the projectors. These people don't know what electricity is. Now suddenly they're watching movies on a projector, and the projector brings an image of what they claim is Isa alayhi salam, and the projector brings this image closer and closer. And you know, the picture gets bigger and bigger. And the evangelist tells them, the crusader tells them, this is the Son of Allah, or this is Allah. This is the one who brought and cured and this for you. Just when they thought they had them, one of the leaders of those tribes innocently jumped up in astonishment when he seen what they claim is Allah. He jumped up in astonishment. He said, La ilaha illallah. That's Allah. La ilaha. In astonishment, the word Tawheed came out of his heart and out of his tongue. They had hope, but it didn't work because La ilaha illallah leaves an impact on the heart. It's extremely difficult to take La ilaha illallah out of the hearts. So number one, La ilaha illallah is difficult to take out of the hearts. Number two, many knowledgeable in their falsified scripture, those who really know what they're talking about in their scriptures, feel that a Muslim or even an ex-Muslim is not worthy of joining their religion. We don't want these people. So what's the solution? But we don't want them as Muslims, but we don't want them in our faith. The goal of the haters, the conclusion is, not to take Muslims into their faith, but rather to take Muslims out of their faith. Just take Muslims out of their faith. Just take them out of their faith and let them run like wild animals astray in the wilderness. This is why they openly intervened in Muslim countries and Muslim curriculums, namely in the lands of the Haramain, our holiest, to remove and dilute this topic of Wala and Bara in their curriculum. They ordered in particular that the authorities in the lands of the Haramain to remove and change the curriculum of wala and bara in the grade school and even in the universities. This is public facts. I'm not saying anything from my own. This is not hidden. This is not made up. Go research it and you'll see. It started or intensified or it got to the media around 2003 and then in 2006 and 2007. The stooges and subordinates in Bilad al-Haramain said to their masters what they should have said to Allah. They said to their masters, we obey, we adhere, we'll take care of it. In fact, it got to a point where even Salih al-Fawzan openly and publicly stood up against this matter and objected to the change in the curriculum in public, wrote against it. And after the curriculum changed and matters changed, over time they made out of Mecca a center to call for interfaith. They mask it with this dialogue baloney, but it's really interfaith. I collected and wrote an article on our old site. I don't know what happened to the article. If you remember, I gathered 30 names of 30 ulama in the lands of the Arabian Peninsula who called someone kafir or kufr, who believe or adopt or promote interfaith. There's even a fatwa by the official ulama, Hayat Kibar ulama, considering it kufr. Wallahi, one scholar who the Murji'a attribute themselves to in the lands of Haramain said, whoever calls for interfaith is worse than Jews and Christians. Every main aspect of interfaith is aimed to attack and demolish our aqidah and wala and bara. The purpose of interfaith is to destroy wala and bara. I'm going to be clear with you. Now we have the dua who we call Ruwaybidah. Their ultimate purpose has become to demolish the aqidah of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. They use interfaith as a sneaky way to mask their demolition of wala and bara in the true authentic belief of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Or rather Islam, because Islam is wala and bara is Islam. These Ruwaybidah have made fools out of themselves, even to the kuffar themselves, the ones they aim to please. I heard of experts this week, an expert on what they claim radical Islam and terrorism, or what they call terrorism. He said in the West they've been teaching such a diluted form of Islam that it's no longer making sense to the youth, rather it's generating an opposite of what it was intended to do. It's creating jihadists. This is an expert saying this, making fun of them. Many of the dua and shuyukh today who are anti-wala and bara, diluted in the teaching and tainted version of Islam, and work for the enemies of Islam. 12 years ago, this week, those same men appeared in their teaching as solid on wala and bara as can be. Notice I say appeared. A Muslim doesn't molt. They appeared 12 years ago to be solid on wala and bara. They appeared. Meaning if you go back 12 years ago to their recordings and before that, it will refute what they're barking about today and what they've been poisoning the ummah with in the past 12 years. I don't think you need a rocket scientist to tell you what changed. You can guess on your own. This is dua not only in the West, but in the East there's just as many, if not more. Look at their faces and look at their aqidah 12 years ago and before that, and look at them today. Look at them and listen to them. Now, they clipped their wala and bara, so Allah clipped their appearance from the honor of looking like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Compare and analyze and think. Now, don't tell me they are the Shafi'is of our time. They seem circumstances and they recanted, and because of different circumstances, different situation, they changed like a Shafi'i. I heard them use it. Allah used this excuse. I personally heard some of them use it. They say we're like a Shafi'i. In Iraq he had his own madhab. Then he went to Egypt. People and circumstances were different, so he had a totally different madhab for the people in Egypt there. الشافعي في القديم الشافعي في الجديد. They make it as if a Shafi'i rahimahullah established laws of Islam for Iraq where he was, and a different set of laws of Islam for the people in Egypt because of different circumstances, different nature, different people. I'm going to address that later on, but that's one of their claims. But look with me. In Ibn Abi Shaybah and Al-Hakim fil Mustadrak, Hudhayfa ibn al-Yaman said, you know who Hudhayfa is? The trustee of the secrets of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, listen to what he said. من أحب أن يعلم أصابته الفتنة أو لا فلينظر. Hudhayfa said, if you want to know if you were hit by a fitna by Allah, if Allah misguided you, you want to test it? If you want to know, then look, he gave us a test to see if Allah hit one of us with fitna or not. If Allah misguided one. فإن رأى حلالا كان يراه حراما. If he used to deem matters halal, that he used to regard as halal, and now he changed it, he flipped it. أو يرى حراما كان يراه حلالا فليعلم أنه قد أصابته فتنة. Or matters that he made haram, which he used to deem halal, then he has been hit with a fitna by Allah. What Hudhayfa means, not an innocent person learning and he finds out this is haram and halal, or a sheikh on one issue here or there over time finds out the proof was not authentic or something like that. What Hudhayfa means by switching the haram to halal and the halal to haram, he means those who change their harams to halal and their halal to haram to make it easy and pleasurable to them and to please others who are not Muslims. That's what he means. And worse than that is those who change their aqeedah. If he's talking about haram and halal haram, worse than that is those who change their aqeedah. What a coincidence. The sudden changes in the principles of Islam so suddenly, so drastically all happened 12 years ago. What's going on here? What happened? Did they all suddenly get some type of revelation we don't know about? Well, what was it that happened that their aqidah so suddenly changed? Drastic change overnight. In another narration in Musannaf Abd al-Razzaq and in Sunan al-Bayhaqi, Abu Mas'ud al-Badri entered upon Hudhayfa. Abu Mas'ud al-Badri walked in on the Sahabi Hudhayfa, the same Sahabi we're talking about, the holder of the secrets of the Prophet ﷺ, said, advise me. He's taking advice from the Prophet, the man the Prophet ﷺ trusted with secrets. He said, إِيَّاكَ وَالتَّلَوُّنِ إِيَّاكَ وَالتَّلَوُّنِ فَإِنَّ دِينَ اللَّهِ وَاحِدٌ. Don't be like a snake shedding skin in the deen of Allah. A Muslim's skin does not molt in the deen of Allah. The molten in the deen of Allah by some dua has become a topic of mockery to the non-Muslim journalists and to the non-Muslim experts in these matters. Being firm on the correct way is an honor. Say Alhamdulillah if you're on the firm way and you've been on it. Wallahi al-Azim, it's the biggest blessing you could get. وَأَتْمَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعْمَتِي. It's an honor many had, but Allah deemed them unworthy of it, so He stripped many of that honor and kept the very few. Those who bolster in interviews about having been on the aqeedah of the Sahaba and now they left it, they bolster about that today. Don't bolster, big boy. Don't bolster about that, big boy. Wallahi al-Azim, following in the footsteps of the Sahaba was an honor. Allah the Almighty stripped you from it. Who keeps people firm on the right aqeedah? And who takes them away from the right aqeedah? Allah tells His own beloved sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَلَوْلَا أَن ثَبَّتْنَاكَ لَقَدْ كِدْتَ تَرْكَنُ إِلَيْهِمْ شَيْئًا قَلِيلًا. Muhammad, you would have been misguided if Allah didn't keep you on the right guided path. Had we not made you stand firm, O Muhammad, you would have nearly inclined to them a little. That's talking to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. An Arabic poet who's seen changes in his scholars in his area said, لَيْسَ الْخَلِيلُ عَلَى مَا كُنْتَ تَعْهَدُهُ قَدْ بَدَّلَ اللَّهُ ذَاكَ الْخِلَّ أَلْوَانًا. Your friends are no longer what you used to see them as. They went through phases and phases of molting and changing. As fitan go on, as the snow keeps melting, and as the more you will see of the reality of many more. That's the great benefit of the struggles that the ummah goes through. The snow melts, you see what's under it. لِيَمِيزَ اللَّهُ الْخَبِيثَ مِنَ الطَّيِّبِ.
Wallahi, Shi'ism is filth. I'm saying this to you. Shi'ism is filth. You read their stuff, they allow prostitution, as you know, called mut'ah. You know, they allow lying. They allow so many things that any Muslim is going to reject. Really, they are the most lying sect of Islam. In other words, they are, it is a part of their religion, taqiyya. One of their concepts of the religion is that it is allowed for them to lie. Of their beliefs is that their 12 imams control the creation. They control the creation. What type of shirk is this? Shirk and rububiyyah. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala controls the creation. And I have read this in Khomeini's book himself. I read it myself, the Arabic version of Khomeini's book, Al-Hukuma Al-Islamiyya. I read this myself. Okay? That of our beliefs is that the 12 imams, they occupied a station above that of the prophets and messengers and malaika. And our 12 imams control all of creation. And nothing occurs except with the permission of our 12 imams. And they do this and they do that. This is pure shirk, pure blasphemy. Unfortunately, people out of their ignorance, they think that Sunnis and Shi'as can cooperate. Perhaps an ignorant Shi'a, you can cooperate a little bit with him and call him to Islam. But the Shi'as that know their religion, beware of them and avoid them. I am telling you, they are... The ulama of the past have talked about this. The Salaf, Sufyan al-Thawri and others, they said you will not find a group that is more lying than the Shi'as. You will not find a group that is more filthier in their beliefs than the Shi'as. So these type of people, beware of them, be cautious of them, and realize that these people, they are cursing your mother. The Prophet ﷺ, the Quran says that the wives of the prophets are the mothers of the believers. وَأَزْوَاجُهُ أُمَّهَاتُهُم. Anyone who knows the basic Arabic can understand it. أَزْوَاجُهُ, his wives, أُمَّهَاتُهُم, are your mothers. Okay, or are the mothers of the believers. So the Prophet's wives, all of them, they are our mothers. A person comes to you and accuses your mother of zina. Are you going to love this guy? Are you going to even stand next to him in prayer? If a person accuses your mother of zina, of going out and fornicating with another guy, are you going to love this guy and cooperate with him? This is what the Shi'as believe, okay? Really, I get emotional with regards to the Shia, and any Muslim should, wallahi. Any Muslim that knows their belief, he should have pure anger and hatred for this.
I've listened to YouTube interviews that you've given in the past. You've been very critical of Shias. You've used very harsh language against Shias. Do you regret that now?
What I said about Shias probably around 17, 18 years ago was in fact quite inflammatory and stereotyping an entire segment of people. And yes, I do regret the language that I used. I do regret what I said. And I do believe that I have moved on from that, and I have given enough lectures and videos publicly and interviews which demonstrate that I am now a different person. We all go through phases in our lives. And at a younger age, I kind of took what was taught to me from a certain methodological background and accepted it without verification. And I also was also a bit more of a fiery person in my early 20s. And I think, age and wisdom and experience, really, and interacting with people tempers one down. And yes, I believe I have, moved on from that type of rhetoric and broad-reaching language.
And brothers and sisters, let me be very explicit here. I myself have learned from my mistakes. 2 decades ago, I as well gave inflammatory lectures and speeches. I said things that still haunt me to this day. It was a younger version. I can excuse myself that I was 20, 21 years old, but it doesn't change the fact I made mistakes and I smeared and I used inflammatory language that I myself now regret and I wish I could take back.
Wallahi, Shi'ism is filth. I'm saying this to you, Shi'ism is filth.
But they forgot to see that Yasir Qadi has converted from that position. It is true that he had an extremist position, but over years he has recanted that. And that's how Islam opened its doors to Yasir Qadi to be part of us. Yasir Qadi is now a person who promotes a better understanding of Shia and Sunnis. And when he spoke here, it was very manifest, it was very clear that he is a changed man.